What's up, guys? Misha here. Welcome to this week's Ethereum forecast. And as always, guys, we're going to start with the SMI, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the COT, which is the Commitment of Traders report, to see how the smart money is positioned. And then finally, we'll go into the price action. But before we get started, guys, as always, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Give the video a thumbs up. We greatly appreciate that. And let's go ahead and get this video started. So first off, we're going to be taking a look at the SMI, which is our smart money indicator, and it comes in on our Discord server right here, and we get the long-term SMI, and whenever we see accumulation, it turns green. When we see strong accumulation, it turns blue, and what we're looking for is those areas where we have strong accumulation. When it turns red, is distribution. That means the market is likely to drop. As you guys can see here, a lot of distribution. Here, boom, distribution drop. Here, distribution drop. And so far right now, we're not really seeing anything. It's neutral on our long-term SMI. So the long-term players are pretty much neutral. Now, when we look at the short-term SMI, and I know Ralphie went over this in yesterday's video when he was talking about Bitcoin, but we had a massive amount of distribution right here, which led to a high. And then we saw a drop. Then we had the strong accumulation coming here at this low, rallied up. And then we had more strong accumulation at this low here, rallied up again. But right now, once more, we are seeing a neutral behavior from the short-term players and from the long-term players. So what we look for here, since we're swing traders, we're looking for strong accumulation to happen on the long-term SMI. And so far, we have not seen that yet, which is why we don't have any current positions in the market. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the Commitment of Traders report. Guys, we're now looking at the COT report for Ethereum, and this is the report as of April 19th of 2022. And this report came in last Friday, and it was from Tuesday of last week. And we can see that the asset managers kept their longs at 0. However, they have reduced their shorts by 59 contracts. Now they only have 63 shorts, which means that they're still 100% short, but the number of contracts is decreasing, which means that we're moving in the right direction if we want to be bullish. So now let's go ahead and take a look at that on the actual trading view indicator. As you guys can see, right now I'm looking at the percentage longs and shorts, and we can see obviously they are still 100% short. However, we can see that the shorts have actually gone back down, because last week when we spoke about this, the shorts had actually increased back above the average. The longs went down to 0, which turned us 100% short. However, right now what we're seeing is the shorts have dropped, but the longs are still at 0. So it's good that the shorts are dropping. That's what you want to see if you want to be a bull, kind of like what we saw here, the shorts staying below the average allowed for price to rally. But what you're going to need is you're going to need the longs to start increasing, and that's the part that we have not seen yet. We have had this 1 week move up here, which was very promising, but ever since then, the longs have gone back down below the average, and they're now sitting back at 0, kind of like where they were at here. So we're going to need to see the longs increase and the shorts stay below average if we want to be bullish. But at the moment, we don't have that yet. So I know the Bitcoin COT is a lot more bullish than this one. Actually, this one's not bullish at all. It's literally 100% short. So yeah, the Bitcoin one is bullish. However, on the Ethereum COT, we have not had a bullish signal yet. So now that we've gone over the COT, guys, let's go ahead and get into the price action. All right, guys, we're starting the price action segment with Ethereum BTC as always. And if we look at this chart right here, if you guys remember from last week, we were talking about prices hitting this weekly supply. As a matter of fact, it's been hitting that weekly supply for the past couple weeks. And we had two potential scenarios. We were either going to continue to this supply area here and then drop into this demand area, or we were going to go down into this demand and then continue to the upside. Now, last week, what I told you guys was that we were more likely to drop into this demand and then go into up into this supply up here, which is a 3-day supply. And for the demand, that was a daily demand down here. So right now, we have been slowly grinding our way lower. We're currently using the weekly open as resistance. And when we go down into our lower time frames, and guys, the reason why I would favor the price going down into the demand area here and then pushing up to the premium and maybe even breaking it is because we've already used the previous year's value area high as resistance, as support, sorry, right here. So you can see last year, 2021's value area high, use a support here. We bounced off of it, right? So now we could see a move back into a discount of that range into this demand. and then a continuation to the upside towards this area, and we'll have to see if we have the strength to break this area. So reason why I was looking at this area as well as a key support area is not just because we had a demand area here. When we go into our 8-hour time frame and I look at my quarterly volume profile, we can see that the previous quarter's point of control sits right there. And we also mentioned how this monthly/quarterly open could also be very significant because it lined up with the quarterly value area high. Now, when I drop down into my 4-hour and I look at my monthly volume profile, we can see that the previous month's value area high is right there. So we have the previous month's value area high and the previous quarter's point of control within this area. So that adds a lot of confluence to this demand area right here that we saw in the daily time frame. Now, when I drop down into my hourly and I start looking at my weekly volume profiles, this is where things get interesting because we opened the week, we tried to bear trend, we went back up, we tested the value area high, did it twice, and now we're testing the value area low as resistance dropping, but we can't really find the legs to keep dropping aggressively. So every single time we try to drop, we have a big retracement. So we'll have to see how this plays out. From the higher time frame perspective, I would like to see this market go down into this area. This would be a beautiful potential buying opportunity for Ethereum. Obviously, if at that time we're expecting the overall market to go higher, Ethereum BTC hitting this area right here could present a great opportunity to enter Ethereum in order to be able to outperform Bitcoin, okay? That's how I'm looking at it, and that's how you should be looking at these markets. You want to be looking at the BTC pair, the BTC cross, in order to identify which coin will be outperforming Bitcoin, okay? So that's what I'm seeing on Ethereum BTC. I would still expect prices to come down here. That's the area that I want to see price come down into. Now, obviously, how would that be invalidated? Well, if we're able to go back above the previous week's value high, then this idea is completely invalidated. And then at that point, I'll be looking for other support levels in order for me to be able to get a move up to the supply area that we were talking about. So that would be my invalidation point right here if we're able to go back above the previous week's value area high. And then obviously, we'll see what the COT brings. Tomorrow, we'll get a new report. Tomorrow, it's Friday. So we'll see how that plays out. Does that tell us that prices should go higher? Or is it telling us that they're not really trying to add longs yet? So we'll have to see what happens with that. So now that we've gone over Ethereum BTC, where nothing is pretty much changed, guys, still the same expectation. Price hasn't hit either of these targets yet, so I'm still expecting a move down to here and then rally up to there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at ETHUSD. All right, guys, we're now looking at ETHUSD, and like Ralphie mentioned yesterday, he did show this on the Bitcoin chart yesterday. When we look at the monthly candle, because right now we're on April the 20th, so basically we only have a couple days left in the month. So what are the odds of this candle closing bullish? Well, they're very slim. Most likely this candle is going to close bearish, which is why that's another reason why we don't want to be buyers at the moment, right? You're not trying to buy the bottom wick of that candle. You'd rather buy the bottom wick of a candle that has the potential to close bullish, right? Not of a candle that's very likely to close bearish. So when we look at this, this is not telling me I want to be a buyer right now. Now, looking at it from a weekly perspective, we can see that we came down into a discount of that range right here. So if you do swing low, swing high, if I pull my fibs, swing low, swing high, you can see we went below 50%. We'll probably hit 61.8 down here. Actually, let's add the 61.8 in there. If only this would work. Okay, it's not working. I'm not sure why. Let's try one more time. No. Yeah, it's not working for whatever reason. So yeah, so we probably hit 61.8 or something like that. And now it looks like we might want to go to the upside. Now, obviously, as I was saying, we have not seen the long-term SMI give us strong accumulation. So it makes us very, very reluctant to buy, because when you've seen the data for the SMI, you've seen how prices usually react when we get the strong accumulation. It allows you to be a lot more patient and wait for that strong accumulation before you start entering new positions, right? And obviously I'm talking about longer term swing trading positions, not intraday trading positions, right? So as I was saying, we came down into a discount here. Now within that discount, what do we have? We have this daily demand here, which at this point I was expecting that daily demand to get crushed, and it seemed like it was getting crushed, but then right now we're getting this move back higher. Okay, so as this was happening, my target was here. And as I mentioned last week, I can't remember what day exactly, it was the 21st, I think. We were right here. I was talking about prices hitting this supply here, and I was expecting prices to come down into this demand area right here, which is what? This is a 3-day demand down here. But at the moment, it doesn't look like that's what's happening. So how could we potentially be seeing this right here? So we'll have to go into our lower time frames, start looking at some volume profiles. So reasons why I had this 3-day demand area here is because one, it is a 3-day demand. Two, we also had the previous quarter's point of control sitting right there. So that's a pretty nice confluence with this area. And then when I drop down into my 4-hour, we could see the previous month's point of control is also in there in the previous month's value area low. So there's a lot of confluence within this little area right here. And when you're looking at it on a lower time frame, it does look pretty nice. It looks like a consolidation where they probably accumulated a lot of orders in this area. And actually, when we look at the historical SMI, we can see that there was strong accumulation in that area back in March of this year. So that was definitely an area where there was strong accumulation on the SMI, and you can see the type of movement that happened afterwards. And I'm talking about the long-term SMI, obviously, not the short-term one. So right now, what are we looking at? Well, we'll have to go into our hourly time frame and see what's going on with the previous week's value area. So right now, we're sitting at the previous week's point of control. Okay, so we're still kind of consolidating within last week's range at this moment because we tried to bear trend. Very, very similar to Ethereum BTC, because we tried to bear trend at the beginning of the week, came back up, retracement into a premium of that range right here, swing high, swing low, boom. Pretty sure this got over the 50% threshold. Boom, right here, probably hit a 61.8, and then boom, came down. Now, this move lower right here, I expected that to continue, but as you guys can see, saw a lot of rejection at these lows right here, and now we're back within value, as I was saying. So right now, if we're able to sustain above this previous week's point of control, we can very well go up to this previous week's value area high. And then if we're able to break that, then we'll have to assume that prices are likely headed higher and not lower. But again, I'm not looking to be a buyer until I see the strong accumulation. And right now I'm not seeing it, which is why, again, we're not in any positions at the moment. So going back to the daily time frame, what kind of resistance could we find on this chart? Well, we have the previous year's value area high. Okay, so when we zoom out, boom, right here, you guys can see this. Now, I had mentioned how that was a very, very big deal. The fact that we were using it as support here, but it wasn't breaking. But then finally last week when we made the video, I said, uh-oh, this is not good. We broke the previous year's value area high. We went back within value, and now we tried to expand lower. We retested it again. So there's going to be a key area of resistance right here for Ethereum. And you guys can see how many times Ethereum has actually used this area either as resistance or as support. So this is definitely a very strong area. The previous year's value area high, that's going to be another level we're going to be paying very close attention to, which is at about 3,000. And when we go into the previous week's value area high, that's about 3,080. So almost around the same area. So we'll pay attention to this area, see how this plays out. But right now we don't have strong accumulation, but the COT is looking less bearish. It's not looking bullish, it's less bearish. So we'll see what we get tomorrow with the new report. Are we going to see asset managers start to increase longs? If they do, then that's very, very bullish. However, if they don't, then that just means that this is likely to be just another retracement, and then we might be headed for another leg lower, which would then give us that strong accumulation. Okay, so that's pretty much what I'm seeing on Ethereum USD. Like I said, I'm looking at previous year's value high and previous week's value high as my upside targets at the moment, and then we'll see how we react at these levels. And then obviously the downside target stays the same, which is this 3-day demand down here. So with that said, guys, hope you guys got some value from this. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and if you're interested, we have our free Discord server that you can join. The link's going to be down below in the description, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.